Okay, so this is the last video about my dad. I just got finished talking about the fucking rat. All right, so my dad, he's a very, or he was a very, I'm not gonna say forceful, but he wasn't always the my way or the highway guy, but he didn't like being wrong. Okay, so that's where I was kind of going before I ended the last video. My dad would always tell me, if I call you, you need to answer your fucking phone. And those was his exact words. If I call you, Jimmy, you need to answer your fucking phone. Here was another big ass disagreement that we had. And I told him, I said, Dad, I bought a stick shift for a reason. Not just because I like driving stick shift. That was like really the real reason. But the logical reason is, statistically speaking, more accidents happen when someone's behind the wheel of a car because what are they doing? They're talking on these motherfucking cell phones. And that causes other people who aren't talking on their cell phones to get in accidents by trying to avoid these fuckers that keep talking on their cell phones. So if everybody drove a stick shift, use hand-free device, there wouldn't be any car crashes, there wouldn't be any texting, and they do have talk to text. So if you have to talk and text or whatever, they have that app on here. You just gotta find it. Okay? All phones probably can do it. Especially those smartphones. Anyway, maybe not the clamshells, but hell, if it can text, it can probably talk to text too. All things are possible with technology. And that shit's going to kill us all. That's my PSA. So we got to argue. We got into this big fucking argument, man. And he's like, Jimmy, it could be important. I said, Dad, if it's that important, when I get to where I'm going, I will call you, or you can let the phone ring until it rings off the hook. I'm not pulling over on 64, and I'm not answering that phone when I'm driving. He's like, but Jimmy, it could be important. I said, Dad, let me explain something to you. You don't want me speeding down 64 because you jumped on my ass because I've outwardly confessed to him how I drive like 80, 85, 90. Okay, I've even had it up to like 100, maybe more. Better stop confessing before I get arrested. But anyway, I've been known to be speed racer going to Richmond. No, but my dad. The faster I get there, the longer I have to be with him. So we got to argue, and I said, Dad, don't you know that the accidents that happen on 64 generally happen to the people who aren't even in an accident because they pulled over to get on the phone where some jackass didn't take that courtesy to do the same thing, and when they look up, you're in their bumper because they swerved off the road because they were on the fucking cell phone. It's like, that shit doesn't happen. Like I said, yeah, it does. I said, that's the only reason why I will never pull over and answer my phone. I said, now, if the rest stop on 64 is within my area when I'm driving, or if I may quote my buddy Josh, if the rest stop is in my radius of driving and I'm in the right lane and it's clear for me to pull over into the rest stop, then I will answer the phone. But if I'm driving and I'm closer to Charlottesville and there's no rest stops for a long time, I'm not going to pull off on 64 to answer the phone. It's like, but you need to answer the phone. If I call you and say, Dad, I love you. I hear you. But you're not hearing me. I am not going to get killed for a fucking phone call. I'm not going to answer that phone if that son bitch ring. If Jesus' face pops up on that phone, then I'm probably already dead. But I'm not going to pull that fucking car over to answer it. No, because anything can happen. And people don't understand, you watch all these horror movies, how people make a wrong turn and they wind up somewhere and they shouldn't be there. Yeah, that shit can happen. But when you're on the freeway, and I want all of you to know this, when you're on that freeway, when you're on the highway, when you're on interstate, people only have tunnel vision. They look out for cops. They don't really look out for you. They're looking out for cops. I have been blown by a car, and I'm in the speed lane, doing the speed limit. I have been blown by a car with someone, by the way. It's a black car. It looked like a Dodge Charger or something. They were on the cell phone, talking, and I know I was doing 70. They had to be doing about 120 going past me. It looked like I was standing still. And I'm like, my cars are small, so when big cars and trucks go by, the little CRX would shake a little bit, so you gotta try to keep control of the son bitch. And right then and there, I learned that trying to pull over to answer a cell phone can have dire consequences. And what if I'm pulling over to answer a cell phone and I don't see a person while I'm trying to pull over to answer the cell phone, and then I crash and kill someone? You know, when I get behind the wheel of a car, I told my dad this, so I'm telling you guys this for those who are watching. There's three things that is important. First and foremost, I say a prayer when I get behind that wheel. Like if I'm leaving town, I say a prayer. I don't care if I don't make it back home. And this is how my prayer goes. Dear Lord, when I get behind this wheel and I'm going to another town, I don't care what happens to me as long as I don't kill anyone else. Don't let me take nobody's mama or their daddy away. And if I do happen to be in a crash, then let it just be me. Don't let me kill somebody. Don't let me kill their kid in the car. None of that shit. Because I care enough about them. I don't really give a fuck about me. But, I'm almost through the midpoint of my life. And I don't have kids. So, if I was to die in a car wreck, maybe I don't have a legacy behind. But I don't want to be that guy who kills someone's mom. And that's their only income because their dad's not in their life. And vice versa. I don't want to kill somebody who all they have is their dad, because I wanted to answer this motherfucking cell phone. I love my dad, don't get me wrong. I don't give a flying fuck if it was even Jesus calling me on this phone. That's just not a fucking option. Because the freeway, the highway, the interstate, all those places are dangerous. All of them. And it doesn't have to be a cell phone. It could be a deer. Because animals are unpredictable. I almost got hit by a turkey once while I was driving my car to go get it painted. And that shit scared the hell out of me. Nobody really understands how big a turkey actually is until it flies across the bow of your car. Okay? So if you think that was funny, it was quite funny. A turkey's not as big as a deer, but you can still crash and you can still kill the person in the car next to you because you try not to hit the animal. You try to swerve, you try to stop. Anything can cause an accident and can kill someone. So animals is something you can't really avoid. But technology, fuck that shit. You can avoid using technology. So to end the argument, I explained to him, I said, Dad, I love you. I hear what you're saying. I even see what you're saying. But you gotta understand, you're somewhere sturdy. And if you're in the hospital, this thing has a machine that will take a message. When I get to the house, I will call you back as soon as I get to a spot that is stable and safe, not just for me, but everybody else out here driving. I will call you the fuck back. But while I'm driving, whether it's 64, 250, I-95, Route 666, Route 24, Route whatever the fuck, I'm not going to get on that phone. Because my car's not that new age shit where you can plug the car into the accelerator thingy or the igniter thingy for the motherfuckers that smoke. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And I can talk on the phone. My car doesn't have that. No. It does have a hands-free device and a Bluetooth, but I don't have that. So without it, it's basically like useless. So in that moment, if you're calling me and I'm driving, I have the ultimate fucking answering machine message. And it's I can't really remember everything, but it says, in the form of what I'm gonna say here is like a close proximity of what it actually says because I can't remember word for word right now, but in the proximity, it's like to whom it may concern. If I am not answering this phone, it is because one of the following four reasons, might be five reasons. I'm not really sure. I don't want to tell you a lie, but the main reason was I'm either sleeping, I'm in the shower, or on the toilet, and above all else, I never ever answer this phone while I'm driving my car. It's not worth the risk, and I will never answer it no matter who's calling me. So if this is important and I'm not answering it, those are the reasons why. Please leave your message at the beep. And I'm not changing my message. I don't know how to make my phone play it, but that message is true to light. And I never answer that son bitch when I'm behind the wheel of that car. Like I said, I don't care if you're Jesus or God himself. I'm not answering that phone. I'm not saying that it's the right thing to do, but for me, it's the right thing to do. For y'all want to kill someone because you decided that answering that phone was more important than keeping your eyes on the road, and you might not see that deer that makes you swerve into my car because I pulled the fuck over to answer the fucking phone, and I'm dead because I'm sitting in the car, full impact. You might survive, you might not. So then we have two people dead because one person decided to be a dick and answer the fucking cell phone. So, hey, it is what it is. Eventually, he's seen it my way. So he knows exactly what times to call me. It's like, this is my work schedule. I get off at this time. It takes 5 minutes driving to get home. So if I get off at 4, you call me at 4:10. That way you'll know that it takes 5 minutes, providing traffic, give or take. They call me at 10 after or 15 after. Give me time to get home, then give me the call. And I knew his work schedule. He goes in at 6 in the morning. He gets off at 5. So if I call him, I give him that courtesy extension until like 6 o'clock. If he doesn't answer me at 6, I don't call him back. He checks his ID. He calls me. It's pretty much the gist of it. And that's kind of how we managed to start communicating better before he passed. And it sounds kind of rough, but hey, we're men. We kind of get rough, you know. But we've had great times, and I miss him every second of every day. I know that I had plans with my dad to film and stuff, and those plans are now not gonna happen. But I probably can get one of my last uncle on his side to substitute. They don't look that much alike. My uncle's nose is way bigger than my dad's nose. But you know, yeah, Mark also lives in Alabama, so that's probably gonna be a big stretch on trying to filming because there's no way of knowing when he's gonna come to Smithfield. And when he comes to Smithfield, I have to come to Smithfield, and we have to get all the equipment and everything set up. And that's like a big clusterfuck of probably not gonna happen. But it would have been a great commercial. So, you know, the one thing, oh man, I got a hole in my shirt. I'm about to go to Richmond and buy a new one. That sucks. Anyway, just noticed it. Must have happened with the cat. Anyway, freaking, when it comes down to it, as an independent filmmaker, we always want. Well, let me rewind. As an independent filmmaker, my dream was to always film a movie. It didn't have to be the best movie, but even like a 2-minute movie. I've always wanted to film with me and my father, or me and some other family member, and making a smash hit. All right, so that's not gonna happen now because I can't do kung fu, and kung fu is my element. So if I ever film another movie, I'll probably try and film something scary. But to do that, I'm gonna have to like really lie in on the party stars here. So I have to start saving up money so I can like make a monster and buy some things and work stuff out. But until then, until I get like literally physically clear, I'm gonna put everything up, and that's gonna be that. So I got off track again. Big mistake. Back on my father, so I can close this out because this is the last video I'm gonna talk about for the night. My dad has been the only person who's really supporting me in the acting thing. Everybody else has shunned me with everything else I wanted to do. My mom didn't want me to be a cop, and that we won't go into that rant because that'll take like 10 years to finish. And my dad, he didn't really want me to be a cop, but he didn't want me to not be a cop. He's like, that's a dangerous job, Jimmy. I was like, yeah, that's why I want to do homicide. It's not that dangerous until someone dies. And my job will be to Inspector Gadget the shit out of that motherfucker. Or Inspector Willoughby. But, the inspectors, they do all the hard work. So I was hoping to be an inspector or a detective and do that kind of thing. However, dreams get shattered and we bounce back. My acting dream is all I had left. And broken heart from the girl that I wanted to marry fucking me out of my life caused me to go to the army because at least in the army, if I died, I'd have died somebody, then died the stereotypical black guy who they're going to assume did drugs or was a thug or some shit like that. Nobody black, not all of us are thugs and gangsters. Some of us are actually fairly decent human beings. And the fact that I'm multicultural only would make it worse. It's like, oh, well, he's part black, so he probably was dealing in and out. He might have been dealing in the city and going back to the resi and getting the drugs and swinging back and forth. Because like I said, I'm part Native American, and most people barely even believe that I'm black. So anyway, my dad and I, you know, being that his grandmother was Native American and his mother was Native American. His dad was black, so he has more black features, and vice versa for me, since my mom looks like she's white, and I'm just a big old fucking mutt. But back on my dad, so I can finish this off before the 30-minute mark. My dad, man, was fucking awesome. You know, he you know, he never passed judgment. And whenever I played with my GI Joes and everything, without making the little noises because they totally pissed him off, we had one thing that he and I had came to terms on. Unfortunately, he died. So I'm gonna grow my long hair, and if I find it, I'm going to buy that fucking GI Joe aircraft carrier because when I had the chance to get it, I was like 12. It's a long time ago, and the thing is like 7 feet long, so it's like as long as this bed that I sleep on. And when we looked at it at the store, and he read the box, he's like, Jimmy, you can't take that home, buddy. And it was like maybe $115 at the time. 1988, 89, whenever the hell the flag aircraft carrier was distributed. It was big. And my dad's like, Jimmy, you have nowhere in my house that you can keep that. It can't even fit in the car. It's like, Dad, I really want this aircraft. Jimmy, I would love to buy it for you. The problem is, you can't fit it in the car. So, I don't think I really cried about it. We walked around the store, and this was about the same day that I got kicked out of Toys R Us for not being 15. So I think I was like 12, 11, 12. I was really young, and I got kicked out of Toys R Us. Yeah, I got kicked out of Toys R Us in Newport News, Virginia. So, and Miss Molly, my dad's girlfriend, went in there, and like, I love white people, because she had like white power, and it was like the shit, man. So, I'm gonna give you this story, and then I'm gonna get the fuck off here. So my dad, Miss Molly, and I were going over to Newport News, and I really want that aircraft carrier. And Dad goes, "You're gonna get one toy, only one toy." Fate's an amazing thing, and this has gone past 15 minutes, so I might as well keep going. So we go in the store. Let me rephrase that. I go in the store. The two kids in front of me went in the store by themselves, and they were like maybe 7 and 11, and they were brothers. They were these young blonde white kids, and so I jump out the car, and Dad says, "Go in the store, pick out what you want. We'll be right in behind you." So I walk into this damn Toys R Us, and I am quickly and immediately escorted out of the Toys R Us. I hadn't been in the store maybe 2 minutes, and my dad and Miss Molly had just got out the car, and they were talking to those kids' parents. So the white lady, she's a brunette, sexy to death. Now that I remember her, she's sexy to death. I hope she's still sexy, but she marched me around the entrance, through the cashier, and right back out the exit, because they had like that separated exit thing where you have the electronic door, and you have to go all the way around to go back out, but you have to go through the cashiers because there's that little gap way or whatever. So she marches me right back out the store, and so there's the three white people outside and my dad, and the white lady marches me over there and makes sure, and Miss Molly meets her. She's like, "What are you doing?" He can't be in the store by himself because he's not 15. And I said, "But those two kids, they went in the store before me. They didn't go with their parents. Their parents are already inside." And Miss Molly said, "No, they're not, because their parents are right there. We've been talking with them for like the last 2 minutes. So why did you bring him back out the store?" And the lady went all around the garden to avoid saying that I was a kid of color and I was more likely to steal something while I was there by myself. And so this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen a white person do. And she said, "Look, he has money. We gave him the money. We were coming in behind him until we started talking to them. Our money is good. So whatever the fucking problem is," because I never heard her swear before then, "you know what? We're not going to shop here anymore because you guys are racist. You won't let my boyfriend's son come in the store by himself because he's black. So guess what? We're not coming back here anymore. There's a children's palace way the fuck down there. And he's gonna buy more toys there than he was gonna get here today. Because you just traumatized this kid to let him know that people are prejudiced. I know about prejudice, but I never like ever thought I would be a victim of it in a store. I never got an apology from that Newport News store either, by the way. So we got in the car and we got down to Children's Palace, which is where I seen the aircraft carrier. Because Dad said I can only have one toy. So it's like, if I'm going to get that one toy, that's going to be the shit. I'm going to get that aircraft carrier. So with the incident that just happened, Miss Molly's like, you can't get the aircraft carrier. Mostly because it can't fit in the car. But you can get 3 action figures. She bought me my Lady J and 2 other G.I. Joe dudes. I can't remember who the hell they were. But she bought them. So long story short is, Lady J was one of my favorite action figures. But I didn't want to be gay to have a female be my favorite toy. And when Jinx came out, Jinx was my all-time favorite action figure. And I've always had a thing for Asians, so it didn't really matter. But Jinx was my favorite of all time. Jinx, Snake Eyes, and Lady J. Those are the main 3 G.I. Joes that I played with all the time. And so my dad had told me that it was okay to play with the female G.I. Joe. And there's nothing wrong with it. So, I accepted that. And I never had a problem with that afterwards. I've always played with Jinx. She was always my favorite. So, in closing, I've learned a lot from my dad. And sometimes you just have to be you. Whether you like it or not, you have to be you. And your parents will still love you, even if your favorite G.I. Joe is a chick and not a dude. And she was my favorite G.I. Joe of all the G.I. Joes. I do have a whole lot of male G.I. Joes that was my favorite, because Mercer, the first Mercer from the Renegades, was my favorite male G.I. Joe. But that's just because he had the look. He looked like Colossus. Colossus has always been my favorite X-Man until they start fucking him up. But other than that, my friends and I, when we had G.I. Joes, we never actually always played G.I. Joe. We played regular people and stuff. But, when we did play G.I. Joe, I was always Mercer or Falcon, because Falcon was with Jinx. So mostly Falcon was my favorite male after I got to see the G.I. Joe movie. I love Falcon. Hails off to Don Johnson for being the voice of Falcon, and Sergeant Slaughter for being the voice of Sergeant Slaughter. So I have my choice favorites, but Falcon, I still have all 3 Falcons. I have the original. His arm's a little dinged up, but I still have him. And I have the 2 remakes where he's in white, like snow camouflage instead of like the green camouflage. So, Falcon is like one of my favorite G.I. Joes. He's also Duke's brother. So, Falcon, any G.I. Joe that had a beret was like one of my favorites, because I always wanted to earn a beret. And I came real close in the Army to get my graduation beret, but when I got fucked up, and I got re-fucked up, and then I got re-fucked up again. So that pretty much ended my career before it could begin. And it's probably one of the biggest regrets I'll have until the day I die. But my dad never, ever shunned me for not getting all the way through. He never shunned me. He's like, oh, you're a soldier, son. Because you went in at 37 and you damn near made it until you fell in a hole. It wasn't your fault that you fell. But, whatever God's plan was it was not for you to be there. So, yeah, well, my plan was for me to be there. He said, why did you join the Army, son? I said, well, Dad, I got 3 reasons and why I joined the Army. The truth was, I wanted to die somebody, not nobody. But I had a broken heart, and the Army gave me a reason to stay alive. I found a new family. I found peace. And everything was going well until I found that fucking hole. And, I missed the Army. I wish I was still in the Army. And, infantry, it's not a great job. I know that. And I also know that in infantry, you basically sign up to die. Simple as that. I didn't have a problem with that. I accepted that before I even got there. And when I got there, I'm going to be honest with you, I was expecting to complete training and go straight to war, because I wasn't coming home. Especially when I found that I can go active first. And I said, oh shit, I can go active first. I don't have to go home. I can be active National Guard with my unit, but I can volunteer to go with other units. I said, fuck yeah, that's me. It's like, well, they're bringing everybody home. I said, nah, I said, they're bringing some people home, but I'm going to go with a unit that's going to go. I never knew that I was going to get fucked up. I never planned on getting fucked up, and I had already discussed this with my dad. It's like, Dad, if I can get through this, you know, I'm probably not coming home. And, he was okay with it. He's like, Jimmy, whatever you want to do, I got you. Now, the last person that ever did that, I got fired on my day off. Another story completely. But my dad was all about supporting. It's like, son, if you go into the army, it's full time commitment, and you ain't coming home no time soon. I said, Dad, I'm in the guard. I'm a weekend warrior. It's the first weekend of the month, and 2 weeks a year, and I got it set that I go 2 weeks in the summertime, and the rest of the year, first weekend of the month. He said, yeah, but what happens when your unit goes to war? I go to war. He's like, okay, you okay with that? I said, I have to be. I got in, so I'm ready to go. And I was ready. I'm still ready to die for this country. Hella high water. I'm still ready. Them warrior ethos means something to me. I'm not gonna give them out here because it doesn't take much for somebody to apparently infiltrate our army. Because that happened while I was at Fort Benning. Someone was impersonating an officer, and they had us on high alert. Moving back on. So while I was in the army, I never really wrote my dad. I don't regret that because my dad said he doesn't really read very well, so don't write him notes. But then catch up with him when I get out. Which is basically what I did. You know, and I missed him. But if you want the truth, they had to order me to call people, and I didn't have my dad's phone number, so I couldn't call him. So I had to call my mom, and my phone calls insisted on like, "Hi, I'm alive. Goodbye." And that's because other people really miss their families. And I hate to say this, only person I really missed was my dad. And that was the thing, I really missed my dad. But I didn't have his phone number, and we couldn't keep anything with any information on it. So I couldn't call him, and I couldn't write to him because I didn't have his address, and he didn't have a mailing address. He had a PO box office, which was like, okay, well, fuck it, I can't contact him because I don't know what the fuck his PO box office is. And then they started having health problems, and it's like it's probably best that I just let that play out. Well, by the end of it, in last year, well, ain't last year, this year, back in March, my dad and I, we were making plans, because like I said, we're gonna film the commercial, we're gonna do all this other stuff, and unfortunately, he passed. So the thing about my dad, I'm going to grow this hair because I promised him I would. Unlike the promise about the earrings, I haven't gotten a tattoo. Although if I do, it would be to cover up like this first degree burn sore. I do want a sleeve when I think about it because it could cover up this whole thing and up here, But I still have time to worry about that later. I don't really like pain, and I don't really like needles. So the tattoo is optional, or I'll just start wearing long sleeve shirts. But anyway, to finish this off, no, my dad and I, man, we were quite the pair. He never ever really sat down to play G.I. Joe with me, but he always was listening, and he always heard me, and he spoke to me with an open mind, you know. And there was no greater dad. You could tell him anything. He didn't judge you, and he listened. He literally he fucking listened to everything, and he never missed a beat. He listened to every fucking thing that you would say, and even if he didn't like it, he would let you know, but he would let you know as easily as possible without like trying to destroy your feelings on it. You know, he would like, I'm gonna talk to you, and I'm gonna talk to you on your level, but you're not gonna like what I got to say. But he never sugarcoated the shit when he said it. He's like, look, this is how this works, and this is the way you need to hear this, and you don't have to like it, but you gotta at least accept it, and at least listen to what I say, even if you don't like it. I'm not gonna steer you in a direction that is not for you, you know. And normally, Dad had his head on straight, so Dad would put me in a place where it's gonna work out one way or another. You know, it was gonna work out. And so, you know, I wasn't one of those people that didn't listen to my dad. I always listened to my dad, even when I didn't like what he had to say. You know, damn remote. So, in closing, before I call it a night, because it is like midnight, a little after here. And like I said, for everybody who's watching, this is basically more or less for me, and whoever's supporting me and watching these things. You know, I'm temporarily out of action for the moment. I'm not proud of that fact, but I am temporarily out of action because until a doctor says otherwise, Kung Fu is out. But this isn't about Kung Fu or me. This is about my dad. And so I need to end this because I'm at the 30-minute mark. And like I said, you know, YouTube have their moments where you just have to close stuff out. So let me end this on a good note. My dad and I mean, no matter how you put it together, my dad and I, though we didn't see eye to eye, he always had my back. And he always supported my ideas and backed my ass up. He didn't ask no questions, just backed my ass up. It's probably no better thing you can ask for than the full support of a parent. Both parents would have been lovely, but at least one has your back, then you can't go wrong. I will say that I do feel completely responsible for my dad's death because it was my car and the car was old. It didn't have airbags, but you know, everything was up to speed. You know, it had been inspected, had fresh new tires. It just didn't have an airbag, and if it had an airbag, he probably would still be here. You know, and the thing about that is, you know, people have sat down and talked to me, and people have told me that it is supposed to get a little bit easier. You know, I don't agree with that, but everybody deals with death differently. And I guess it also depends on how close you are with the person that died. And you don't really have a choice until your time is up. You kind of have to live with the choices that have been made. I miss my dad with every fucking breath I take. Every second of the day, he goes through my head. But I have to live until it's time for me not to live. So in closing, you know, relish your parents. You know, do what you gotta do. Until then, what my father and I used to say, I started it and he kept it. Later, love you, gone.